Hey everyone, what I thought I'd do for you for a brief moment here is look at two very similar radios side by side, because I wish this video had been there when I was having a look at them. And they're both Roberts radios, something called the Stream 93i and the latest version, which is over here on the right, which is called the Stream 94i. And I just wanted to go through some of the main differences for you so you can decide whether it's worth spending the additional money on this one, or whether in fact just taking the other one over there at what is now a considerably reduced cost. And should you be interested in buying either one of these radios, I've put links to where you can get them both in the description below. The benefit of both of these radios is that they're not just normal radios in the sense of being able to deliver DAB. You can see it's got a DAB sign there, so you can see it's got FM there, but they also have up there something called internet radio. Now what that basically means is you can connect these radios to your Wi-Fi network or to your LAN via a cable at the back, and when you do that you can then stream literally thousands of stations from the internet, which is just incredible. And I have to say, once you discover that, you will become, if you're anything like me, you'll become completely addicted and spend much more time than you should do in the middle of the night looking for interesting radio stations. Of course, the other really cool thing you can do, because it's connected to the network, is you can control it with an app. And it uses this Undock, which is a generic app, odd name, but actually you can control every aspect of this thing using the app. It's absolutely brilliant. I find it really useful because if your radio is not near to you, then you can use the app to control any feature of it that you want to. And it's just one of those added features that for me makes a real difference. You've got also Spotify there, and we'll come on to the Spotify. It's not a touch screen, incidentally. You feel it should be, but it's not. You can stream music from your PCs or your Mac. You've also got standard FM signals there, and on this particular one, you've got also an AUX input and Bluetooth. Now the other one's got AUX as well, so don't get me wrong. I'll tell you about the difference very shortly. If you think what you're hearing is useful, then please give us a thumbs up, and please even subscribe. Both those two things really make a difference. The essential difference between the two of them is twofold. One is the actual design. So you can see that the later one has a much more sleek, rounded finish and a lovely exposed wooden cabinet. Now this one over here also has a wooden cabinet. Got a lovely kind of black sheen there, which is a gloss on top of the acoustically engineered wooden cabinet. If you like the black, that's fine, but as you can see, it's kind of, as soon as you touch it, it gets fingerprints on it. It's also got a solid metal handle up there, whereas this one here has got a nicely crafted, nicely smelling, if you like the smell of leather handle, which, you know, is slightly different. So aesthetically, they're the differences. This one is a lot more, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but it's a lot more angular, so it isn't anywhere near as curved as this one. You've got other cosmetic differences, so the buttons over here are in a metal face, whereas the buttons over here are much more kind of dotted around. Now maybe you say I'm being a bit fussy, but if you look at these buttons, the word mode and the word back aren't aligned horizontally. Now for a product that boasts of its looks, you would have thought Roberts would have sorted that out straight away. The knobs are largely the same. You've got one extra button over there because you've got a back and a forward button. Over here you've only got a back button. So cosmetically, those are the differences. The badge down there, difference too, if you like. Size and weight, they're almost exact, so there's no real big difference there. You can see instantly though that the displays are configured color-wise slightly differently. They're both relatively low resolution displays. They're not, you might even expect OLED at this point in time, but they're not. They're okay. They vary depending on the angle you're looking at them at. You've got multiple controls for the brightness. You can set the brightness whether it's high, medium or low, depending on whether the radio's on or whether the radio's in standby mode. This particular model over here has 5 different settings, I think, and slightly more settings of brightness level than that one over there. There's no auto brightness, which is a real big shame on either of them. So for example, I would want it much brighter during the daylight or when the lights are on than at night when I'm fast asleep, or when I want to listen to the radio at night and there's no other lights on. I would rather it go much, some kind of auto setting, but neither of them sadly have that. Back to the display again, you can see that this one over here is a much more colourful yellow display, and if I think that's the button, so you can see those icons there are coloured, whereas opposed to these icons here are pretty flat. That again is a bit of a shame. I would have thought you would get the better display on the newer model, but you don't. I think the better display by far is on the older model. I prefer the yellow text and the coloured icons. This is just a white text with a bit of, I don't know what colour it's coming out on the camera, but it's actually purple in real life. So that's a difference. You've then got other cosmetic differences with the IR remote controllers. If you want to use those things, they're both pretty much exactly, well, they are exactly the same buttons on them, but they just look cosmetically different. So that's the cosmetics. The other thing to bear in mind, the major difference apart from the cosmetics, is the fact that this one has a Bluetooth connection built into it. The one over here, I'll flip them around in a moment, but the one over here, you have to, the old version, 93i, you have to buy a Bluetooth dongle if you want to connect the Bluetooth dongle. And by the way, when you do connect that Bluetooth dongle, you lose your line in and you lose your USB charging port. They've both got a USB charging port on the back. You lose both of those when you connect the Bluetooth dongle to that one, whereas this one, it's just built in as standard, so you can connect to Bluetooth. The Bluetooth connection is only one way, so all you can do is send Bluetooth signals to both of these devices, i.e. if you've got a Bluetooth pair of headphones, sadly you can't connect them. Now I think, again, for what is a pretty top of the range radio, I would expect to be able to connect my Bluetooth headphones to it, but you can't. So if you're expecting to do that, then I'm very, very sorry, but you can't. I'll flip round just to give you a summary of what's at the back of one of these. So first of all, I'll do this one first of all. Around we go. And what you'll see at the back here is quite clearly, you've got yourself, if you want to connect via a physical network port, you can do. You've got your power, that's a service connection. And there you go, is your USB charging port, which again could be quite useful. And then you've got headphones and AUX in, etc. over there. You've got your aerial, of course, if you want to listen to FM and get some better signals there. That's all well and good, but don't forget, if you want to connect, if you want this older model to work on Bluetooth, you then have to buy I think it's about a 40 quid Bluetooth dongle that takes over. It plugs in and gets its power from a USB, and it plugs into the AUX import. So that's a limiting factor. What they both also take as an option is, of course, an add-on battery pack, which I've got one on this one to demonstrate for you. Let's move those over a little bit. You've got an add-on battery pack here. The benefit of the add-on battery pack, of course, is that you can pick the radio up and walk away with it. They say it's got about 6 hours of charge. I have to say I've not tested it yet. And again, the add-on battery pack, you just remove a few screws and slot it in, and it works. And this is the same battery pack for the 93i and the 94i. Benefits again of the 94i is you leave your USB socket available, but again the 94i is a little bit more expensive, and that's how the handle, of course, connects, which is, if you like that sort of thing, it's very nice. The wood might be a bit light for some, I don't know. Again, it's kind of one of those things, you pay your money, you make your choice, depending on which one you think you want. Like I say, aesthetically, I think this one's better. In terms of sound volume, something I haven't covered, you saw on the back, they both have a very good subwoofer, if you like, for deep bass, and they've got the two speakers at the front. In fact, you can probably see the speakers shining through the material on the front. The sound is excellent, I have to say. Not only is the sound excellent, but they've both got equalizer settings, a range of about 7 or 8 different preset equalizer settings, and also you can set your own equalizer, which doesn't give you too many options for choice. I think it's just increase bass and a couple of other settings, so it isn't fantastic, but there are lots of different presets, one of which will suit you fine. What I love about it as well from a volume point of view, it goes from very, very loud, and when it does go very loud, there's no interference from the cabinet. It all sounds really clear. When they say it's an acoustically tuned wooden box, they mean it, because it does sound, the sound quality is really good, even at high volumes. The other thing which I love is that the lowest volume is whisper quiet. And that's a real benefit for me, because if I want to listen to the radio in the bedroom late at night and my wife's sleeping or something, I can do so without waking or disturbing anybody up, and I can just listen very, very quiet. Another grumble I've got is that, so you've got lots and lots of presets, and I think you've got 40 presets on DAB and 40 on FM and 40 on the internet radio, which is great, but I would have liked to be able to mix my presets up. So in fact, you've got your quick access buttons across the front and across the front there. I would have liked to be able to have either DAB or internet radio or FM, if you like, across the front there. But no, you've got to change the mode to internet radio before you can then use your buttons on the front, and you've got to change the mode to DAB before you can use the buttons on the front for DAB. That's a bit of a shame. It would have been nice if they'd been able to just link that up so your buttons could store anything from any channel. Easy enough to connect to Wi-Fi, as you can imagine. You've got to put it's a bit fiddly with the dial, getting your password for your Wi-Fi router in, etc. But it works fine, stays connected, everything's great. Haven't tried out the accessing music from the computer yet, which was another one of the options, if you remember. remember. You can access stream music from your laptop or your Mac or your PC. Spotify, again, I'm not too sure. You've got to have a Spotify account on your tablet or on your PC or on your iPhone, or Android, of course, it works with as well. And then you can, across the network, make this play your Spotify music. Well, if it's got Bluetooth, I'm not entirely sure why you'd do that. Maybe there are some scenarios where you would, okay, because then you could, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I don't have a Spotify account, so that's rather meaningless to me. As I say, I haven't tried the streaming with the computer yet, but, you know, again, something I probably won't do. I bought it mainly for the internet radio and for the DAB, and those two things are absolutely fantastic. Occasionally, I may Bluetooth across to it. I suppose the other thing I would point out is that when you turn these off, little off button there, and you've got a clock display. You can see it's kind of gone a bit dim now. Yeah, clock display over there, digital clock display over here. You get a choice between analog and digital. So again, you know, if that's something you're really into, then that's absolutely fine. So there you are. That's the Roberts radio. Fantastic make. The Stream 93i versus the Stream 94i. You can get this one for a considerably lower price than this one these days. So if Bluetooth isn't a thing to you, you should really consider that, because there aren't any other huge fundamental differences. So once again, thank you very much for looking. If you think what you're hearing is useful, then please give us a thumbs up, and please even subscribe. Both those two things really make a difference. But until next time, thanks for watching.